8 months ago, I decided to start mining Ethereum. This was basically right after Ethereum had peaked at 4,000 the first time, and I thought, why not just give it a shot? I know about computers, I can get decent deals on motherboards and CPUs and computer parts and graphics cards. I might as well just give it a shot. 9 months later, I've made over $5,000. I'm well on my way to paying off all of my mining rigs, and I think that mining is something I'm going to continue doing for the next few years. The cost of my mining rigs break down somewhat interestingly. I decided to split it up with my brother. I asked him if he wanted to invest any money into it because I was putting about 5,000 bucks in. He put about 5,000 bucks in, and where we're at is we have $10,000 all invested. We've mined over $6,000 worth of Ethereum, and we've sold everything, so we're not holding on to any of it. We're just buying and selling. We're just mining and selling at the moment until we pay everything off, and then we can maybe decide to do something differently. We've mined $6,000 worth of Ethereum to this day. Subtracting the electrical costs, which where I live is 6.5 cents, but it's actually like 12.5 cents because it's 6.5 for the cost of the electricity, but then it's another 6 cents for the delivery of the electricity. I don't really know what that is. It's about 13 cents for me per kilowatt hour. So subtracting all those costs out, we're still at almost $4,000 of profit, not including the initial investment of $10,000. One thing to note is that the graphics cards have definitely gone down in price. I didn't predict that they would go down this much in price. I mean, I would say everything's down almost about half, anywhere from 1/3 to 1/2 the value is completely gone, but that's just part of it. So we're probably closer to basically more or less just breaking even at this moment, but that's because the graphics card prices have gone down so much. I think the prices are probably going to start coming back up, hopefully, and if they don't, it's not a big deal. We'll still be able to mine other coins, especially after Ethereum goes proof of stake. The price of Ethereum when I first started was $2,900. It spiked all the way up to almost 5,000 at one point. I wish it was still at 5,000. Everything would have been a lot more profitable at 5,000. Currently right now, as it sits, it's at $2,000. The entire market's down, everything's down, whether it's the stock market, 401ks, Bitcoin, all cryptocurrencies, they're all down. Basically, they all just sort of swing together, unfortunately. Some inflation hedge. I'm not the biggest believer in cryptocurrency, if I'm being completely honest. I'm more of a believer in gold and in real assets, but part of me does believe in cryptocurrency. I mean, I've spent $5,000 mining it, so I do believe in it to a point, but definitely it worries me a little bit. Based off the current rate that we're going at, it'll take just another 9 months to get everything paid off, which would put us at 18 months to get everything totally paid off. It's different because I'm dividing it up between my brother and myself. I take 20% of my brother's profits because he doesn't have to touch anything. So for him, it's probably gonna take him closer to 18, 19, 20 months to get everything paid off. For me, it's gonna take a lot less time. I'm like more than halfway paid off with all of my investing. I think I only have about 1,500 bucks left that I owe. So just because he doesn't have to do any of the work, it's gonna take him a little bit longer to make all of his money back. But the graphics cards are still worth money. So that's kind of why we decided to mine instead of just buying Ethereum, because had we just spent 5,000 or 10,000 bucks at Ethereum at $2,900, we would be down a bunch of money. As opposed to now, I still believe that we're in the green as of this moment. So that's really good, obviously, because the graphics cards still have inherent value, whether it's to video editors, graphic designers, people who play video games, and maybe even other miners. I want to see exactly how much we would be down if we purchased $10,000 worth of Ethereum at 2,900 bucks. We would be down $3,103.45. The risks are definitely the crypto market. The crypto market swings like crazy. A 10% increase one day and a 20% decrease the next day and a 30% increase the next day. These are all pretty common in the stock market, in the crypto market. It's not like buying a company like Apple where it'll move up and down. It has some bigger swings sometimes, but generally speaking, it's sort of always trending upwards. Bitcoin and Ethereum have basically always trended upwards, but Bitcoin is at 50% of its high, so is Ethereum. So there are some pretty big swings with it. The other risks are that the graphics cards just completely plummet in value. They go down even lower than what they're at now. I don't really see that happening. I think they're about as low as I imagine they'll ever be. And I think a lot of people are offloading their graphics cards right now from mining. I know I've actually bought graphics cards for people who were old miners whose electrical costs were a lot higher than mine. And for them, it's just not profitable anymore, and it just doesn't make sense to mine. So I think that we're seeing a big flood of graphics cards into the market at the moment, but I really believe it's gonna start coming back up in price graphics cards wise. So if you want a graphics card, I'd probably suggest buying it now, sooner rather than later, I guess is what I would think. But who knows, with Ethereum going proof of stake, even more graphics cards could come out onto the market. We just really don't know. So here is the mining rig room. Well, one of them, the rest are in the garage. This is my NVIDIA rig right here. We have a couple 1080s, a couple 1070s, a 1660 Super, and a 3070 right there. This is my mismatch rig, you could call it. I got two 1080s on here, two 5700 XTs, one 1660 Super, and a 2070 Super. And then finally, this is my AMD rig in the basement. A bunch of 480s, 470s, 580s, and in the back, a Vega 56. This fan right here fell off, unfortunately. There it is. That's just part of mining, and I will take you up to the garage to see the final rig. This is my personal computer that I poached from this because it's a lot cheaper to use stuff you already have laying around than it is to buy new stuff. So I have to use kind of a bad computer that I've cobbled together. Finally, here we are in the garage. My wife's got a CNC business. I'll link that in the description. This is the final rig down here. On this rig, we have another 5700 XT, a couple Vega 56s, and two GTX 1080s, I believe, on that one as well. I built this shelf myself. I have an Ethernet cable running from the inside from the basement to come out here. I had every rig out here during the winter, but during the summer months, it just gets a little bit too warm. And I have this little 4-inch fan up here that sucks some air out, but I think if I could connect a tube and get a little grow tent to connect to this whole thing, it'd be a lot more efficient in here. Some of the mistakes I feel like I've made is that I prioritized buying hash rate over buying the best graphics cards. If you were to spend money now, and if I were to go back again, I'd probably sacrifice my hash rate for slightly better graphics cards, whether it be the 30 series or even the 20 series NVIDIA cards. I have a lot of RX 580s, which are like 4 years old at this point. They still work really well. They hash at close to 30 mega hash per second, but it's just the fact that these cards are getting old, they're getting long in the tooth. There might be a point where their efficiency really drops or their price completely plummets. I guess I wish I probably would have bought somewhat more expensive graphics cards at a lower hash rate because one, the wattage would have been way down. I know those cards pull almost as much as like my RTX 3070 that I have. So I think that there's a lot of that. There's so many things that are involved with it. It's really interesting, but worrying about power, wattage, consumption, all of these things, it makes you think that if I could go back in time, maybe I would have chosen more expensive cards over buying cards that were just the highest hash rate. But to be frank, that's a good model now. The dollar per hash rate is around 10 bucks, 9 bucks, 8 bucks right now. Back then it was closer to 20. So I just wanted the cheapest cards I could get my hands on. And I think that probably made more sense back then. But since the prices dropped, I guess maybe I wish I would have just waited a little bit. But I guess I don't really have too many complaints about that. It's just, it might be time to start selling some of those older cards and upgrading to slightly newer, more power efficient cards. Some people are gonna ask why I sell right now. Why don't I just believe in Ethereum and hodl till the end of time? I just don't believe in it. At the end of the day, I know myself and I know my ability to believe in it. And as much as I want to believe in Ethereum and I want Bitcoin and all these things to work, and I do have money involved. Again, I have $5,000 invested into graphics cards for Ethereum mining. At the end of the day, the only one that would really make sense to me is Bitcoin. Ethereum to me seems like it's not going to be around forever. It's the most profitable to mine now. When Ethereum becomes proof of stake, as I understand it, I'm going to read from this article so I don't mess it up. The difference between proof of stake and proof of work. Proof of work uses basically people like me and uses our collective hash rate to solve equations, and we get paid out based off those algorithms, and we get basically more or less randomly selected so long as we just guess the right one. If you mine in a pool, which is what I do because I don't have quite enough hash rate, you will split the rewards amongst everybody in the pool. It makes sense though, because instead of trying to hit the lottery, basically, you're more often just gonna get a consistent payout each and every day. Whereas proof of stake is where people stake their own cryptocurrency of that cryptocurrency. You have to have a large amount of, I think in order to be a validator, you have to have 32 Ethereum, but more or less, general proof of stake blockchains employ a network of validators who contribute or stake their own crypto in exchange for a chance of getting to validate new transactions, update the blockchain, and earn a reward. So that's basically the difference. One of them relies on a lot more power in terms of just actual wattage of electricity, which is proof of work, and proof of stake does not. So that's why Ethereum is swapping over. It means that Ethereum won't have the same environmental impact that it currently has. A couple things I wish I could do. I wish I had slightly more money when I started doing this, because I definitely would have put up some type of wind or solar panels. I think the idea of being totally off grid and not depending on the government at all is wonderful. I have a well here, so I'm so close. I have well, I just need to have electrical, and then and gas, but I could switch all my appliances over to electrical if I needed to. That way I could be completely dependent just on myself. I don't have to rely on any government or anything to provide anything for me. I don't have the money to buy a bunch of solar panels right now. A lot of them have gone up in price, especially as electricity has gone up in price. Natural gas prices have obviously skyrocketed. There have been a lot of factors that increase the price of natural gas, but basically natural gas is the entire energy market. So if natural gas prices go up, then the electricity goes up, and it's really fun because that means everything's more expensive. I locked in my rate actually months and months and months ago because I knew this was going to happen at a much cheaper rate, so I'm not really dependent on the natural gas prices. But either way, it would still be really super cool if I could have solar panels out in my yard or on my roof, and those could power my graphics cards, because it'd basically be free electricity. Obviously there's the cost of the solar panels, but it'd be free electricity going to the graphics cards, so I'd be making basically pure profit without having to worry about any electrical costs. Unfortunately, I don't have that much money right now. That's something I'd like to do probably in the next 10 years, but I can't really do anything about that right now, unless somebody wants to give me a small loan of $1 million. Finally, when Ethereum goes proof of stake, if it happens at the end of June, I won't quite hit my ROI day. I'm close, but I'm not going to hit it. My ROI day is sometime in September, which would basically be a year after I started, but I bought more cards since then, so it's hard to say exactly how long it has taken, but it's basically a year. I ROI'd my old cards a month ago, but that is also me because I got 20% of my brother's hash rate, and then I bought a new card. So my ROI day for my current investment is coming up here at the end of, I think, August or September. So when I hit that, assuming we're still mining Ethereum, that would be great. If not, if Ethereum really continues to drop in price, I think it's sitting at 2,000 bucks as we speak. Let me double check. It's sitting at $2,044.09 as I'm talking here. So assuming we can continue to mine Ethereum, that'd be great. If not, I'm gonna swap over to a different coin. I think it's kind of fun to support the smaller coins. Again, I don't know how much I believe in them, but I already have all the cards and I think it's worth the investment. Once I hit the ROI day, it doesn't really matter what happens. At that point, I've made 100% return on my investment, more or less. To get that in the stock market, it takes 7 years with compounding interest at 10% every year. So I think it's been really cool. It's a great investment. I wish I would have done it 4 or 5 years ago when I wanted to do it back in 2017. For some reason, I decided not to. I didn't have quite enough money, but I really wanted to back in 2017, 2016. But oh well. So I tried it in 2021 and I'm happy with it so far. We'll see. I'll give an update when I have to start mining different coins. But for now, I've definitely really enjoyed it. So thank you for watching the video. I will see you in the next one. Peace out.